Story 1. GF, 24, of 1.5 years cheated on me, 22, and I don't know how to deal with her not understanding that the relationship is over. Quick backstory on me, my now ex-GF was my third relationship in my life and I've also been cheated on in both of my previous relationships. This is to say that I've already made a lot of mistakes you can make after being cheated on. The pick-me attempts, taking them back, getting violent towards the AP and other stupid mistakes you make when you get cheated on. I've learned from these experiences. This sub has already helped me a lot. I was love-bombed and gaslit in both of the previous relationships, but I didn't even know what those terms meant at the time. I was blind to red flags and just made stupid decisions overall. After not dating for 2 years, I met my current ex-GF. She was the exact opposite of me, extroverted, loud and the life of the party. We first met at a party and she came up to me and asked me if I wanted to dance. I got uncomfortable and confused since she was extremely gorgeous, but at this point my self-esteem was at rock bottom. I just stood there not saying anything for a minute. She then just took my hand and dragged me onto the dance floor. I actually like to dance, so I didn't fight it, and she spent the night just animating me to have fun and interact with people I hadn't met before. It was really fun and she asked for my number at the end of the night, so I gave it to her. After talking and going out for 2 weeks, I told her about my past relationships and that I didn't know if I wanted to pursue another one. She was very understanding but still said that she wanted me to be with her. I agreed, and for the next 1.5 years, she showed me what a relationship should actually be like. She respected my feelings, asked me how my day was, actually talked to me if something was wrong, and a lot of other small things that really showed she cared about me. I regained my self-esteem and of course loved her as much as I could every single day. We had arguments, but it was always productive and trying to find a solution and never us screaming at each other. She made me feel loved and desired. This brings me to my D-Day, which was now 2 weeks ago. I was on a language travel for 1.5 months. We talked to each other daily and I never noticed anything weird about her behavior. I got home 3 days earlier than planned and wanted to surprise her. I got back to her apartment at 11 p.m. I figured that if she wasn't awake, I'd just lie next to her and surprise her that way since I was also tired. I went into her apartment with her spare key and walked towards the bedroom. When I looked inside, I saw my girlfriend sleeping next to a guy I had never seen before. I felt all the emotions I had felt before and knew that the only good decision was to just walk away until I had calmed down. I went to my car and drove to my home. I tried to sleep but couldn't even though I was tired. For the next 2 days I didn't let her know what I saw and just replied to her messages like nothing happened. I immediately told my best friend though, let's call him Mr. Krabs since that's what I call him. He really helped me emotionally and got me into the boxing gym where I could let go of most of my anger. Hitting the speed bag is one of the most therapeutic physical experiences I know. I don't know why though. Maybe it's the rhythmic banging of the speed bag. I actually cried for the first time in 13 years talking to him. We talked about what I wanted to do now and how I would confront her. After all of this was done, I visited my girlfriend on the day I was supposed to return. When I arrived, she was very cheerful and went in for a hug, but I held my arm out and told her that we needed to talk. I then told her all the things I talked through with Mr. Krabs. I told her that I had actually returned 3 days early and wanted to surprise her, but when I went into her bedroom I saw somebody else sleeping beside her. The cheerfulness she displayed completely vanished and she looked like she saw a ghost. She tried starting to talk, but I told her that I would first be getting everything I want to say off my chest, since she owed me at least that much. I continued to talk to her about how much she had hurt me but that I didn't hate her. I told her that I always would have listened to any problem she had and tried to work it out with her, that her cheating on me was the immediate end of our relationship. I told her all of my thoughts that I had organized with Mr. Krabs. At the end, I basically told her that I wouldn't be in her life anymore but that I still hope she'd be happy with the new guy. She already started crying as I was talking, but when I said the last sentence she started crying harder than any other time I had seen her cry. After she somewhat composed herself, she started saying that the guy didn't mean anything, that it was a one-time thing. She'd never do it again and all the other things that I've seen written down in this subreddit before. I told her that she knew exactly how much it would hurt me and she still did it, so I couldn't take her back. At this point, she started talking about how much of a terrible human being she is and that she should just die. I didn't want to leave her like that, so I tried calming her down, but she kept talking about how she doesn't want to live if I'm not with her, so I called her best friend over and explained the situation before leaving. After this was done, I sat in my car and on the way home started crying again. I suppressed my emotions as much as possible in front of her, but I was and still am a wreck. Now we finally get to the reason I am posting on this sub. Since the day I confronted her, she has been spamming my phone with texts and calls to the point where I had to block her. After I blocked her, she drove to my apartment and started ringing the doorbell, begging me to talk to her. I tried ignoring her and the ringing stopped at some point. When I went out a bit later to buy groceries, she was still in front of my house waiting for me. I didn't see her, and as soon as I walked out the door she threw herself at me, telling me how sorry she was and that we needed to talk. I told her that I had already said everything there is to say. After getting her off of me, I asked her to stop bothering me so I could heal, but she isn't listening. Every time I go out, I weirdly run into her. Sometimes alone, sometimes with her friends, but she always mysteriously shows up wherever I go. I keep ignoring her, but she still won't stop. How do I deal with this? I still like her and hope she gets better, but she isn't respecting anything I told her about me needing space from her to heal. She would have always listened to a request like this, but she's been acting so weird ever since I confronted her. She even gets her friends to write to me about how I should forgive her and take her back, but anyone that wrote that to me I already have blocked. It just makes me sad seeing her like this, and I don't know what to do anymore. I don't want to move since most of my friends are in this city and the apartment I'm renting is perfect for me. I don't want to get a restraining order, but at this point, I might have to. Thank you for reading, any advice would be much appreciated. Story 2. 3 days after I caught my husband cheating, he attempted to take his life. I cannot believe I am writing this. I am in hospital and I don't want to subject my friends and family to every outraged thought in my mind, so I am choosing this sub to make an outlet. Short of it, I found out 3 days ago that my husband had been sleeping with multiple men unprotected in our own home over the past few months. I am 6 months pregnant. I posted about it here, and after talking to him I told him there is no way I can ever get past this and we have to separate. I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but it was so hard for me to say since I have been with him over a decade. This is our first child together. I am in my early 40s and I thought I knew him and loved him. I guess I still do, even though I am sickened by what he did. He has been begging me to give it another chance, but I am just refusing. I got a call from the ER at the hospital today as his next of kin because he had taken an overdose of sleeping pills, then called the ambulance. He was taken to hospital and I had to go and show up and see him, when I started experiencing severe abdominal pain and palpitations and ended up being admitted myself. They are confident it is okay, and brought on by stress. My husband's sister came to visit him and then me. He had told her what happened. I hadn't spoken to her, and she was sympathetic at first, but then I blurted out something like, "I am just so furious at him for doing all of this to me," and she got angry and defensive, and said that the cheating was inexcusable and she can understand my pain. But the attempt to take his life shows how much pain he is in over this and his sexuality, and she is shocked I am not more empathetic since I love him for so long. I was just lost for words. What about the pain I am in? I find out my best friend and husband has been doing this. I am pregnant and in hospital and trying to deal with the fact my marriage is over because of his actions. I am not trying to sound self-pitying, I know that it sounds like that, and I didn't mean that his suicide attempt was him doing something to me. I just meant that everything he has done has put me in such an awful situation and I just cannot believe she isn't even thinking about my pain. I just can't believe what a mess my life is now. Our lives just look like normal bland, suburban, corporate people with no mess, and now this. Sorry for the incoherent rambling. I am just in total shock over everything.